Next is Mr. Collins from Georgia. Welcome back.
Thank you, Chairman. It's good to see you again, and I would look forward to the time when we can do this in person as we go forward. It's been really interesting to me, and it's interesting that my friend Mr. Raskin, we have engaged in rhetorical flourishes together for many years now, and it's interesting though that just as what I just saw went from praising work that we can all do together, which needs to happen on the issue of police action, which I'm encouraging our chairman. I'm glad to hear we're going to have a hearing next week on that. Because what happened in Minneapolis was nothing but murder, and we've seen it in Georgia, down here, and other places where we just have our society has to come to grips with this. And you, I think, Ms. Cohen and others, Ms. Jackson Lee and others, were on the police working group that we had a few years ago, and we need to continue that. So I'm glad the chairman is looking for that. That's what needs to happen. But today's flourish is interesting to me, and I am concerned about the discussion here going forward, because the wording that is used here is something that is bothersome in the sense of, let's take what actually is happening. Let's take mine and Ms. Abrams' home state of Georgia. And the interesting issue here is that we have been working, and unfortunately Georgia, because of some things that have been said by Ms. Abrams and others in the committee and throughout the country, has been held up as a place in which suppression and voters were not encouraged to vote. And simply the numbers don't show that. And in fact, from 2014 to 2018, African-American male and female went up 12%, 14%, 13% on white male, 16% against female white. And Hispanic voter participation has increased from 18 to 24% in our state of Georgia. When we look at this and we're talked about the no excuse voting, which again, I go back to, and a quick question here, because I have a question, because I know that Ms. Abrams is very precise in her wording. And you used in your wording in your opening statement, uncontroverted. And I would assume, Ms. Abrams, that you would agree with me that uncontroverted means it is with truth and validity, not disputed or denied, correct? That's a question.
I was attempting to turn my microphone.
Okay, I have that problem too.
As to the definition of the word uncontroverted, yes, I would agree with your definition.
Okay, well, then the question is, this came up several times here. We keep bringing up Wisconsin, yet a Stanford and World Health Organization study that says that there is no correlation between rise in COVID cases in Wisconsin because of the voting. There may have been more 71 cases, as you said, but there's been no rise overall. And the question is of those 71, can it be definitively determined that they caught at the voting place? So it's very interesting. We should say this is uncontroverted, and your wording was it would break your heart to see them standing in long lines. Did it also break your heart to see folks standing in long lines in Fulton County and DeKalb County because local officials there chose to limit their voting machines and limit their polling locations? We need to make sure that we continue this process in honest discussion and not rhetoric that tends to scare people. The question that comes into my mind here, and I want to go back, there was a discussion. And it's been stated by some of the Democratic members, it's been stated by the chairman earlier, it's been stated by you, Ms. Abrams, and others, that you're being forced to choose. And we just got off the discussion of Mr. Ho, and he was talking about how many, and you actually talked as well, how many have no excuse absentee voting. Now, I will agree with you that there are other people that may have, that those voting premises need to be encouraged, and I would encourage that. Everybody needs to vote. But my question is, where's the choice to put your life in danger if in this, such as our home state of Georgia, anyone can request an absentee ballot and get it? Where are we? Is that not just use of overblown language to say that in states like Georgia and others, to make a political point that we're just saying nobody can vote? That seems as a contradiction. Ms. Abrams, you want to answer that?
I will try to address all of the questions. First and foremost, the number of 71 cases have been directly related to April 7th, according to the Wisconsin State Journal, which is in my testimony. Number two, no one has claimed that voting has created an overwhelming majority of cases, but there is a direct correlation, and that is uncontroverted based on the evidence before us. As to
I'll stop you there, Ms. Abrams. Ms. Abrams, can I answer this? Because I want to go back to something, because uncontroverted means not disputed. And you're a fabulous attorney. I've known you for a long time, but I will say that, and somebody will politically use it against me. But I'm going to say this. You understand that I'm saying that April 7th is the start date for those all 71 to have received the virus at that time. That is probably not a provable statement. And to keep stating it as a provable fact is not being a forthright and honest discussion of what happened in Wisconsin.
to continue my response, the issue of who has a choice to vote. It is not a choice if you apply for an absentee ballot, but the infrastructure of the state is insufficient to meet your request. That is the reason for the request for funding. Because in the state of Georgia, for example, yes, millions of people have requested a ballot, but not everyone has received it because the state does not have the funding at the local or state level to meet the needs. And that is going to be expanded when we get to November. But I not only represent the state of Georgia, the work I do is across the entire United States. And so I speak for voters in every single state in our nation, particularly voters of color, who wish to use this choice to vote by mail, but may not be able to if their state is insufficiently funded to provide access to the right to vote.
Well, I agree with that.
Mr. Collins, your 5 minutes is up, and I thank you.
I yield back. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.